From William and Ann Busby Nickerson, who founded Chatham in 1664, to today's 1994 Nickerson Family Association located on Cape Cod, we have an exciting story to tell. 330 years of family history have unfolded over centuries, from England to New England, throughout the United States, Canada, and abroad.
Hello, I'm Phyllis Nickerson Power, a 12th generation Nickerson, living in my hometown of Chatham, Massachusetts. And I'm here with Irvin Nickerson, an 11th generation Nickerson, and he is president of the Nickerson Family Association. And we're here at a monument on Main Street to share with you the story of the Nickerson family.
I find this plaque, despite its age, to be very, very exciting. Exciting because it tells a story and sets a pace for the Nickerson Family Association. On the plaque, it identifies William Nickerson, who was the first settler and the founder of the town of Chatham. And it also talks about William Emery Nickerson, who was one of the founders of the Gillette Razor Company, who started the first family reunion of the Nickersons back in 1897 here in Chatham. At the same time, he also had hired a genealogist, set up an office in Boston to research all the Nickersons back in the late 1800s. He created a basis of information that today is the foundation of probably one of the most complete genealogy records in the country. We find this as a great pace to be set for our association, and he has left with us these words: "He who has no feelings of veneration for his predecessors should expect none from those who follow him."
Thousands of Nickersons have been cataloged by the Nickerson Family Association since 1897. This massive work is the result of thousands of volunteer months and years by many people, all vitally concerned that the Nickerson story remain alive. One such volunteer is Polly Derrick, who has been an unpaid genealogist for 30 years. The massiveness of the work only a computer can handle now, and the correspondence to Polly is growing daily. I'm now at the home of Polly Derrick at Dutch's Way in South Dennis, and Polly has been our genealogist for over 30 years, keeping track of all the correspondence and the genealogical files for our association as an unpaid volunteer. And I'm in her library that was specially built by her family in 1979 to house all the information for the Nickerson Family Association. So good morning, Polly. Nice to see you. Polly, I always wondered, how did you get interested in this genealogical work that you've been doing for over 30 years? How did you get started?
I had an invitation to come to a Nickerson family reunion. So I went to the reunion and they put me right on the genealogical committee. Then I started to do research such as probate and vital records to put the family together, and found I had to have family charts to help me as well. And so I started my own system from that time. And as time went by, one by one they dropped off the committee, and I ended up being the head of it.
And nobody trained you to start with, is that right? You
No.
devised your own system?
Yes,
and
I did
your own research? And
yeah.
You had to go out to the probate courts and so forth to look up the information?
Yes.
And now you've been doing it here with your committee?
Yeah, I have a committee that comes and works with me. They're here on Wednesday afternoons, but people can come anytime.
Right, right.
And there are four of us that work and put the information into the file from all the letters and everything that I receive.
And you're receiving more mail all the time,
All
aren't
the
you?
time. Phone calls, people wanting appointments, people wanting information.
Right.
Really, the genealogical section of the family is the lifeblood of the family. That's what keeps it going.
Right. And I've been told that it's a very respected genealogical file that you keep, that you're one of the foremost in the country having more
That's what
complete
they
files.
tell me.
board of directors of the NFA appointed a Nickerson House Committee in 1993 to identify structures and sites suitable for our new home. The committee has worked diligently over many months and has now purchased a 1.5-acre parcel of land in Chatham Port on Orleans Road, Route 28, just a few feet from the original Nickerson homestead and just a few feet from the burial ground. Just think of it. Perhaps it is not a coincidence that 330 years later, this wonderful site was vacant and available, just waiting for our dream to come true.
This is my son, Todd Wellington Nickerson. Just bring him up here to look at the memorial stone where we think that William, our founding father, was buried along with his wife Ann Busby. And this also was put here by William Emery Nickerson back in the early part of this century. It talks about William Nickerson coming from England in 1604, or born in 1604. Was in Boston in 1637. He was a deputy to the General Court in 1655. He was a founder of Chatham, a religious teacher, definitely a useful citizen, and according to this stone, the progenitor of at least, or probably exceeding 50,000 descendants. On the plaque is listed their children, and identifies William Emery Nickerson as the force behind the creation of much of the historic values in Chatham. Pretty good, Todd.
Pretty good.
Are you impressed?
In the autumn of 1993, our dream was further realized. Our pleas for a structure have been met by the generous donation of a bow roof, half-cape style house. Jan Nickerson, president of Nickerson Lumber Company and Mid-Cape Home Centers, has given us this wonderful building in memory of his grandfather, Captain Oscar C. Nickerson, founder of Nickerson Lumber Company in 1895.
Hi, this is Jan Nickerson, Joshua Nickerson Jr. Behind me are two portraits. One is my father, Josh Nickerson Sr., and the other is my grandfather, Captain Oscar C. Nickerson, who started Nickerson Lumber Company in 1895. Recently, we gave a building to the Nickerson Family Association, which is a half-cape bow roof house, and we hope that you will support our program.
On a rainy, thundery June day, our Nickerson house was moved from Mid-Cape Home Center in Orleans Town Center down to River Road, Town Landing on Meeting House Pond in Orleans. The first leg of the journey was completed. On the morning of Thursday, June the 16th, when the tides and weather were favorable, the house was carefully placed on a barge and floated with much fanfare across Pleasant Bay into Riders Cove, Chatham Port. Much to everyone's delight, the front page headline of June the 17th Boston Globe read, "Keeping Their Plan Afloat." All the local newspapers ran numerous articles. The story ended up on CNN Nationwide TV News with Cape 11 and WBZ TV turning up for interviews.
We see houses come down the middle of the road, but it's very seldom that we see it floating on the water. Tell me a little bit about the project.
Well, first of all, Phyllis Power Nickerson is a real estate broker in Chatham, and I happen to be a real estate broker in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, so we were accustomed to moving houses. It was going to be great when this house was to come down the road, down 28, down to a Chatham Port. But it really got to be exciting when we knew we were going to go on the water, because we're all sort of seafaring people, we Nickersons.
How much did this cost to do the boat move and put it onto another piece of land?
We don't have all the costs on the move, but I would suspect that Just the move itself is probably around $10,000. The ongoing operation of the facility will probably run about $150,000 minimum.
Was everybody who was part of the the Nickerson Family Association, are they all Nickersons, or do you have other people in the community helping out as well?
There are a lot of people here that have the name of Nickerson. There are a lot of people here who formerly, still are Nickerson, but married into another family. All sorts of people are interested in what we're doing. They don't just have to have the name of Nickerson, but there are a lot of us, and we're sort of a pretty proud clan.
So are you really happy that you finally made the move?
So how are you supposed to feel when a dream starts coming true?
And so the next chapter of our story is emerging. The challenge of 1994 into 1995 is evident. We must raise a further $110,000. Throughout the year, our fundraising committee, chaired by Willard Nickerson Jr., has been working hard to raise the money necessary to complete this project. Now we're at the home of Willard Nickerson Jr. in North Chatham, my dad. And Dad has kindly volunteered last year to be chairman of the fundraising for the house. And it's been a very busy year for you and your nice committee, hasn't it, Dad?
Sure has. The committee's done well, and they've helped me a lot. We've raised $40,000, which I'm very pleased with for the first year. It's a long-range program, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but we have a long way to go.
And so now the next step is to get the house up, and we need the money coming in for what parts of it?
For everything. We have to now, the house is located on the lot that we purchased, and it's only a few feet from the old original Nickerson homestead. We have to do the excavating, get the foundation set, and move the house on it to start with.
Right. So we need all kinds of help in different ways from people, don't we? We need their labor.
Sure. We sure do. We need volunteer labor. The whole house has to be finished inside, so we need plumbers, electricians, carpenters. Anybody wants to donate any time that have any, welcome them.